Hey, what up, what up, what up? So, getting a lot of, I guess, complaints or maybe questions about how, why my DPS is so low as a fire mage in dungeons. What am I doing wrong? Blah, 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 blah. So I'm just literally going to record myself in this dungeon, and I'm going to try my best to kind of explain exactly what I'm doing and why I'm doing it as I go. So, first, I will show you guys my talents right here. As you guys can see, obviously I'm going configuration. Pyromaniac will be the better talent. It's generally not favored though in a 5-man setting due to all of the fucking mobs and all that, right? So that kind of, I guess keep that in mind. Usually Shimmer is going to be the better talent there. There's no reason to go anything else. Rune of Power is just simming so much higher than the other two talents as far as mirror images goes and enchanters. Flame On, that's a must. I mean, there's no reason not to go Flame On. And then last but not least, Ice Flows, that is also a given. Keep in mind, I'm actually going to be talking while I'm doing that. I'm not going to go back through and edit this, so disregard my DPS right here as I'm kind of explaining my talents. So Living Bomb, that's a huge one. Living Bomb is actually going to be the majority of your damage in 5-mans, especially when it comes to trash. I guess let me change that. Let me mix that up a little bit. So Living Bomb will be your only form of damage when it comes to being trash. However, Living Bomb will do a lot of damage on trash, and it should be used off cooldown. Living Bomb is your #1 form of AoE in a dungeon. As far as this last tier talent goes, it's pretty flexible on how whichever route you want to go. Storm actually sims the best. However, it's very easy to pull mobs when it comes to doing these 5-mans, right? So I guess that's just something to keep in mind and be aware of. So I tend to like kindling more. I need to use combustion more if you are taking kindling, if that makes sense. All right, so let's discuss a little bit of about rotation and stuff like that. Like I said, Living Bomb is super important. Living Bomb, you always want to open with a Living Bomb if there's more than 3 targets on the trash bag. Another good rule is if there are actually more than 3 targets in the mob, you actually will be using Flame Strike over Pyroblast. That's something that's usually, I guess, the judgment call of when to use, when to use Flame Strike over Pyroblast. Now, this is going to be a single target boss, so that being said, I'm not going to be using Living Bomb at all. So if I really wanted to min-max damage here, I could maybe swap over to, let's say, Unstable, but that's going to be a bit redundant there, so I'm not going to be doing all that. Now, as you guys noticed right there, the tank just went right in. He didn't really say too much as far as like, you know, hey, I'm going to pull. There's no DBM timer or anything like that. And that's kind of how I wanted to do this video. I didn't want to be like a set, you know, hey, let me get a pull timer for every trash mob. I wanted it to be as real as I can make it. I wanted the video to be a legit video, you know, like something that would that would always happen. Also really weird that I got a follow there because I'm actually not even live right now. I am just recording through my OBS software. So that's interesting. So going back to my rotation, well, I do want to talk about that more, and I will talk about it a little bit more here. So I'm using Rune of Power off cooldown, as well as Fire Blast, as well as Flame On too. As you see, Flame On just came off cooldown. I'm going to go ahead and hit that. Now there are ads in this boss, so I'm going to dot that ad with a Living Bomb. Hopefully the rest of my group here swaps. Now the Living Bomb actually did not spread to the rest of them. So if you guys don't know how Living Bomb works, does like what's the radius of Living Bomb? A 10-yard radius. So with that being said, I'm going to have to actually ice block right here because I know a bunch of damage is going to be coming out. Now this is heroic, so there's no reason to like maybe, you know, worry about all that damage, but you know, you still want to ice block that if you were doing Mythic or something. So Shadow Priest did beat me there. Shadow Priests are going to be stronger single target. My combustion had just came off cooldown and I actually just used it. So say that boss lived maybe 5 more seconds longer, then yeah, we would have beat the Shadow Priest there. All right, so moving on, I'll try to focus a little bit more as far as, you know, DPSing, what I'm doing ad-wise and all that jazz.
understand now. You must find Kutalos. You must.
As far as sitting on your Phoenix Flames stacks, I mean, generally to have a really good opener on the boss, you're going to want to have 3 charges of Phoenix Flames. Now, granted, until we open up this relic, or this golden trait of ours, Phoenix Reborn, it's going to take us a while to get our Phoenix Flames to recharge. So that being said, you kind of want to be semi-conservative when it comes to using them before boss pull. But I mean, just be aware. Be aware of when the boss is coming, how many charges you can use, stuff like that, right? So I see that we're pulling the Ancient Widow right here. We'll probably take him in the hallway. Yeah, it looks like we are. So now my understanding is this ad does summon little spiders, correct? I believe that's how it works. I'm not too sure exactly when he summons these spiders, but I guess we will see. Now the ideal time would be to know when those spiders spawn and then apply Living Bomb roughly 3 seconds before those spiders spawn. Does that make sense? So Living Bomb, the way it works, if you guys aren't clarified on it, you put Living Bomb on a target, and then I'd say about 3.5 seconds later, the bomb explodes, and then any ads hit by that explosion will actually gain another debuff of Living Bomb themselves. So it's a nice little AoE padding damage that can be done. Okay. Dave, what's your item level, by the way?
834.
Alright, yes, so the Shadow Priest item level is 834. I'm 835, so that shows you, like, these guys they're literally around my same item level. I'm not too sure where the Hunter is, but yeah. So I see the trash pack, I open up with the Living Bomb, I double Fire Blast in, Flame Strike, I do a Flame On, then I do 2 more Fire Blasts, I Dragon's Breath. Probably going to use 1 Phoenix here. I see that it did proc the Hot Streak, so I dropped the Flame Strike. I reapply the Living Bomb as soon as it comes off cooldown. Another Flame Strike. I move out of the way. Also, one little thing I want to talk about. Nice little buff you can actually grab in this dungeon. Is the one I just grabbed. It's a 50% damage increase. It's pretty nice. I think it actually fell away before I could actually apply the damage from it, though. So, that being said, the one thing I've actually been struggling with a bit is using my Rune of Power in a 5-man as much as I should be. I mean, obviously I'm going to be using it on a boss fight, but when it comes to like maybe trash pulls, that's a spell that we often forget to use, and it's a spell that we should be using because it is a good spell, right? So just keep that in mind. So I'm not going to interrupt this cast right here, even though I could. I'm going to spell seal off that buff. I'm going to drop my Living Bomb. I'm going to Flame On, get a nice little dirty Flame Strike going, and then just start padding in my numbers, right? As you see, the Living Bomb fell off, and then we're good to go. I mean, we're not destroying the meters here, but we're definitely not getting left in the water either. So I do see the bosses up here. I believe we actually have to go around to fight this boss. So I'm gonna keep that in mind and maybe be a little bit more conservative on my Phoenix Flames charges because I want to have all those stacks up for the boss fight coming in. Like I said, first thing I do is I drop that Living Bomb. And actually look at my damage breakdown right here for this individual trash pack. You can actually see that Living Bomb is my #1 spell, right? It's actually like a fuckload of damage. Living Bomb is doing 1.72 million versus something like, I don't know, my Flame Strike. We'll check the Flame Strike damage after this and see. So Flame Strike did 1.6 and Living Bomb did 2.6. So Living Bomb, I got maybe two casts of Living Bomb off right there. And Living Bomb did 2.6 million damage. Like, that's just how strong Living Bomb is. Now, keep in mind, we are not supposed to be using Living Bomb if it's a single target. It's actually a DPS loss to use Living Bomb on a single target. Gonna use my human racial there to break out of the stun. Sadly now, however, human racials only break stuns now. I have to say it's a little bit handy because my shimmer won't break a root, but it will move me out of the way so the root happens. So that's nice to know, I guess. I see Living Bomb off cooldown, I instantly want to use it. I'm like, you literally, the key to doing these is to be using Living Bomb off cooldown. Like, yeah, my DPS looks a little low, low right there, but I'm also saving my Phoenix Flame charges for the boss right here. Boss is pulled, gonna Scorch, gonna Combust, gonna roll in my crits. Looks like I have the glaive, so I'm gonna try to stay in my Rune of Power here the best I can. I'm probably gonna ice block this off. Yep, you can actually ice block that debuff completely off, so he won't even run towards you. Just a nice little, I guess, boost to your DPS. You don't have to worry about that mechanic. A lot of mechanics you can cheese. As we do these more, we'll learn those better, and we'll kind of have a better, you know, vibe on how to do it. So, like I said, a Fire Mage's burst is really, really strong. Burst is going to be like about pretty much all of our damage. Now, I do know at 50%, ads start coming out, and I believe they should be coming out any moment now. Okay, so I see the ad walking up. I'm going to go ahead and drop Living Bomb on him up there. I'm not too sure if it's going to work. I see that the Demon Hunter tank interrupted the Arcanist cast right there, the Arcane Blitz. But once again, I'm going to let that go too because I can spell steal it. That is right. I did learn that through beta, actually. So, for whatever reason, I'm assuming to prevent problems with maybe cheesing Mythic Pluses, you are able to spell steal the buff off of this guy, but you will not get the bonus that that you would normally get from the trash pack before. So that's something to be aware of as well. Okay, I see that Combustion's pretty much off cooldown. Go ahead and hit that. A little bit of delay there. I should be Scorching right here instead of casting a Fireball. But the boss died. Once again, kind of at about the same kill time. If that boss would have lived, I would say 5 more seconds longer, we would be beating that Shadow Priest there just because of the fact that we had Combustion going, right? And you guys all know how strong of a spell Combustion is. Out of curiosity, I wonder if I wouldn't have messed up my rotation and actually casted a Scorch there instead of a Fireball. I'm curious to see if maybe I would have actually gotten another Pyroblast, which might have put me above the Shadow Priest there. Hard to say. Hard to say. Here's like my damage breakdown if you guys want to look at it. Generally on a boss target, Pyroblast is going to be your #1 hitting spell. Followed up by Ignite, give or take, and Fireball. It kind of just depends on if there's ads or whatnot, but that's pretty much going to be it. Now this coming up here, this is going to be pretty much like a gauntlet, I believe, right? So, I mean, pretty much same old, nothing too crazy. Make sure that we're spreading our dots. We're spreading our Living Bombs, very important. And we're casting Flame Strike. Now, I had some people ask me, and maybe had some questions about Flame Patch. Flame Patch is good. I personally think that Living Bomb is better in a 5-man. Flame Patch isn't bad, though, if you want to go that route. If you are going that route, then you should actually be using Flame Strike on 2 targets. But as instead of 3, having the 3 minimum, because, you know, as I previously stated, you generally only want to Flame Strike if there's 3 targets. With Flame Patch, that changes down to 2. But once again, I still don't really recommend Flame Patch. One thing I want to talk about too, your golden trait, your 3rd golden trait that you should be going for is going to be Aftershocks. And once again, if you guys are looking for a path to follow to gear up your artifact and all that jazz, click the Discord link below. Once you're in the Discord, go ahead and go into the important information tab, and literally in that tab we'll have guides to everything you pretty much need to know in Legion, artifact paths for all 3 specs, DPS breakdown, sims on trinkets, sims on items. I mean, just a really good, lot of important information. That being said, though, I did want to talk about the 3rd golden trait, Aftershocks. So what Aftershocks does is Flame Strike will call down 1 additional pillar of fire each time it is cast. Now that sounds really strong, and it is really strong. And I know a lot of you guys who are talking about Flame Patch are probably curious and wondering, does this work with Flame Patch? However, it does not. So the first initial Flame Strike will summon the We'll summon the Flame Patch. However, the second Flame Strike will not summon the Flame Patch. So that being said, it's just something to be aware of whenever you're picking that talent and going the route of Flame Patch. Now, I'm not topping meters here, but I'm definitely not getting blown out of the water. Personally, I feel like my DPS does not feel weak at all. I feel like I'm on par with all these other classes, such as the Hunter and the Priest. Now, keep in mind, tanks are really, really strong right now. Tanks are always going to be strong at the start of an expansion. I wouldn't worry too much about that. You generally shouldn't be getting beat by a tank. If you are, don't let it get you down too much, because like I said, tanks are really, really strong. So just keep that in mind. Where is the tank? Oh, there he is. I think he, yeah, it looks like he's trying to move up the steps as we go through this gauntlet. I'm not too sure. Perhaps now he changed his mind. I don't really know what's going on. But we'll just roll with it. Like I said, it's part of the reason why I just wanted to randomly queue into a dungeon, so you guys can get a vibe. That way it's not pre-scripted. It's not like a pre-scripted boss fight, or it's not me just whacking on a dummy. This will kind of give you the vibe of what it's like to, from my point of view, my perspective, to run a full heroic, right? So if you see those little eyes above my head, the red eyes, so that pretty much means I'm being fixated by these bats. That being said, you want to be careful. I could probably stop and cast a little bit and get away with it, especially on Heroic. But on Mythic and Mythic Plus, if you see those red eyes above you, that means you're being fixated, and you probably want to fucking just keep running, right? So like I said, Living Bomb is always going to be #1 in the AoE add priority if there are at least 2 targets. I believe this is the last boss. This last boss, save it?
There's one more after this.
Just kidding, there's one more after this. I'm not too sure, but the tank pulls in. I'm going to open up with the Fireball, Fire Blast. I'm going to start chaining my things. Now, as you guys can see, and you're probably a little bit confused maybe from watching my opener video from before. Now, obviously, I don't have a DBM pull timer there, right? So I am actually not able to get off my full quote-unquote opener because of the way it works. Now, you guys have all done 5-end heroics. You understand how things work. Usually, rarely can find a tank that will give you a 10-second timer in something like a 5-end heroic. So that right there, I saw the Earth-Shaking Stomp was going to knock me back. Whenever any kind of knockback ability or anything like that, Ice Flows can actually stop it from stopping your cast. So like I said, I've done this a couple times. I was aware of what was going to happen, and so I quickly popped Ice Flows to stop me from getting my casts interrupted. Sorry.
Beware.
Once again, well, that one actually knocked me out of range of the boss, so my cats got interrupted as well, but, you know, that's going to happen. And it looks like we were able to beat the Shadow Priest that time. And perhaps an upgrade. We shall see. Let's see. Crit Haste Ring, not bad. Not necessarily an upgrade. However, actually, maybe it is. I think it might be an upgrade because crit is our #1 stat right now, as I'm sure you guys are aware of. Oh, hopefully I don't get lost here. But yeah, crit is our #1 stat. Intellect, it's actually simming above Intellect, so that's something to keep in mind, I guess, as you're gearing up. Now, as of now, the armory is broken, so we are not really able to sim stuff the way I would like to. We will be able to sim stuff very soon whenever the armory gets updated. Now, I guess, technically speaking, you probably could still, or you can still sim stuff. You would have to manually type in all of your gear and all of your items. And let's be real, I've got so much stuff going on with Legion right now, I don't have time to manually enter all of my gear and have that going for me. But as soon as armories go live, we will be able to start simming, and I'll definitely probably put together maybe like a basic introduction video on how to sim your gear. It's really easy. I feel like a lot of people they tend to get overwhelmed whenever they look at SimCraft, and I can even almost pull it up while we're sitting here as I run out of things to talk about. But I do want to go one more boss fight with you guys. So let me go ahead and pull this up here. Like I said, I'm just using my OBS. This isn't going to be like, I'm usually not the biggest, editing YouTube video type of guy, but generally this is how I do things. So this is SimCraft right here. I'm going to casually put my living bomb and alt tab. Basically, it's pretty easy, man. It's as easy as literally importing your character. You click import. It's going to import it. Now I'm going to look at this and I'm going to see... I'm going to scroll down, and you can look, and I see that it has Tome of the Shifting Minds. I see that it has a Nitharamus, a Legendary Ring. It's got the Edict, and I can tell that my gear is not updated. So the fact that my gear is not updated tells me that these sims aren't going to be accurate at all, and so there's really no reason for me to do that. Once they are, and like I said, and when I mentioned before, manually typing in your gear, if you really wanted to, you could type all this in, and you can make it happen, right? I'm not going to do all that. As I said, I don't have enough time for that. Bada bing, bada boom. Now, this boss is a little weird as far as, like, last bosses go. Generally, on the last boss, you pop hero, you burn everything. Bada bing, bada boom. This guy actually breaks off, and after he breaks off and comes back is when you pop hero. Now, while I did have a pretty solid opener there, granted I did not have a flame on. So right now, my next goal is just to spam fireballs to try to get my combustion back up for whenever we do pop heroism, that I will have a combustion spell ready to go. I'm not going to cast any more Charges of Phoenix Flames either, because I'm going to want to have those up for my last combustion. Hopefully the DPS in this group isn't too strong and I'm able to get another one off. I guess we'll see. What's going to happen is we're going to get a buff right here. And we're not going to pop heroism yet. We're going to wait just a little bit longer. And whenever he does like this weird jump thing, he will come back and then we will pop heroism. Now let's look at my combustion's at a 30-second mark, so that's looking decent. My flame on will be off cooldown in about 12 seconds, so I'm not going to be using another flame on, and I'm going to sit on these 2 charges of rune as well. So this is going to be where we pop hero coming up in about, I'd say after this phase is done. It's looking good. It's looking like my combustion will either be off cooldown or just about off cooldown. Okay, and it will be off cooldown because the boss is going to land anytime here soon. There he is, popping hero, dropping rune, casting Scorch, going into my opener. You guys know how this works. Flaming on, chaining those pyros. I literally now have 3 charges of Phoenix Flames up because we sat on them. If I was using potions, which I'm not, now would be the time to use them. And then we just go into the burn phase to burn the boss, And just like that, if you guys can see my DPS there, I shot the fuck up and literally am just destroying everybody. So you guys want to see a mage destroying numbers, that's exactly how you would do it. So that pretty much was me doing, I guess from my perspective, a 5-man dungeon. I hope that was helpful. I tried my best. Like I said, I'm talking on the fly, so I'm sure there was a bit of downtime there, and I do apologize. But generally, basic rule of thumb, guys, living bomb is really good. It's really strong. Flame Strike is good. Try to balance your charges of Phoenix Flames the best you can. And get granted, I mean, I wasn't top DPS every single trash pull, but I was at least close every boss. And on this boss, we just blew him out of the water because I lined up my cooldowns correctly. A lot of mages, it's all about their openers. It's all about lining your cooldowns up with combustion and stuff like that. So give me a, a like, subscribe, follow, whatever, whatever that jazz is. I'm not the biggest YouTuber. I'm just like I'm a mythic Redditor who decided to make some videos. But appreciate the love, appreciate the support. Any questions, I will do my best to answer them. Post them below. Once again, join that Discord. Let me go and pull it up right here once again. So that Discord has a lot of information, guys, and I'm not going to post links to all the images in here because I want you guys to join the Discord. I love chatting with you guys. If you actually see this right here, we're chatting. My boy Jawa, my boy Dylan, Blazin, like we're just chatting about Legion. It's a really great community, and I would highly suggest joining. But if you scroll up here, you can see stuff, everything. I mean, I have targeting macros in here. I have BIS gear list. I have sims on necks, sims on back pieces. I've got your arcane path, artifact path, your fire artifact path. Just a lot of helpful information. So, thanks, guys. Any other questions, let me know, and I can try to help you guys from here on out. But take it easy.